Back on the SportsMax Zone, we're continuing to talk cricket. The 2020 Caribbean Premier League draft held on Monday virtually, and the broadcast of the draft, that is, the #1 T20 international bowler Rashid Khan is back in the CPL, donning the yellow and blue colours of the Barbados Tridents. Former Patriots captain Carlos Brathwaite now with the Jamaica Tallawahs, and the 48-year-old Pravin Tambe becomes the first Indian player to land a CPL contract, as the Trinbago Knight Riders have pretty much snapped him up. Well, we are still with Fazeer Mohammed, who is in Trinidad and Tobago, whose Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, is expected to make an announcement whether TNT will host the tournament or not, because that hasn't yet been confirmed. Maybe that's where Faz can start. Is there any further word yet, Faz, on whether TNT, the land of Calypso, will be staging the CPL?
No confirmation as yet, but I would be very surprised if the Trinidad and Tobago government declines the opportunity to host the entire tournament for a number of reasons. Logistics, because it's now July the 7th. The tournament is supposed to start on August the 18th, and everyone has to be, whether it's Trinidad and Tobago or anywhere else, by August the 1st. And I know you all will be very aware of all the logistics required when you talk about television crews, traveling players, officials, all that has to be put in place. It would be a logistical nightmare if come Thursday, Trinidad and Tobago were to say no. I suspect that the discussion that is taking place is not just about the health and safety protocols in the context of COVID-19, but who's going to foot the bill? Who's going to foot the bill for all the additional requirements of having teams and officials and everyone here from August the 1st, who is going to foot the bill for all of the testing and all of the additional requirements? Because remember, this has now become an even more expensive exercise for whoever is hosting. Yes, it will give Trinidad and Tobago quite a bit of prestige, and of course we're in the midst of a countdown to a general election coming up on August the 10th. The Prime Minister said that is not going to get in the way of CPL if it is hosted in Trinidad and Tobago. So I suspect that the announcement will eventually come, that it will be hosted by Trinidad and Tobago, simply because it's too late to make any change.
Faz, Wayne Lewis and Alex Jordan had a riveting discussion on the SportsMax Zone on Monday about the 48-year-old Indian Pravin Tambe. What's your take on this near 50-year-old debuting in the CPL?
And for the TKR.
And for the TKR as well, as you just mentioned, Mariah. But it just adds another dimension to it, because remember, Indian players don't travel. Indian players don't play anywhere because the BCCI has virtually locked them down to playing only in their IPL. So even if he is 48 years of age, the fact is whether he'll be able to perform, and that's the most important thing. At the end of the day, he looks fit when you see him playing in different tournaments and playing in the IPL. He looks as if he's ready, he's eager. He seems to be a classic late bloomer, someone who's gotten an opportunity late in life and is rejoicing in every single opportunity to play the game. And whether it's at Queen's Park Oval, whether it's at Brian Lara Stadium, in front of absolutely no one, he knows that hundreds of millions of Indians, if nobody else, will be watching, and that in itself is motivation. So I can't imagine that Pravin Tambe will be in any way intimidated by the opportunity to play in the CPL.
Wayne Lewis is looking at you skeptically, Faz. I think he wants to say something.
Faz, here's my thing. I have no problems with age. I mean, they say age is just a number. But I'm just saying, the CPL is considered by many as maybe the second most important T20 tournament in the world. Popular, I mean, sunshine, reggae music, soca music, you name it, is there. But at the same time, if we want to build our tournament to take it to that next level, of us drafting a 48-year-old player into our tournament, I think it sends a message out there that maybe our tournament is not as strong as we would like it to be. Oh, no. And that is my concern, really. How others are going to look at it to see that we are drafting a 48-year-old. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, and I have to jump in before Faz. Or maybe the CPL is being open and letting other players know that you don't have to hang up, you don't have to pack up too early. Like, we're open and we're looking in a direction where we can bring in the veterans to add something to our team.
But it's just my concern. It's not Murray Warriors' concern is my concern, and I just like to articulate my position.
I am articulating.
This is how I feel, and I'd like a response from
Fazeer.
From Fazeer. That's all I'm saying.
Faz, come on, help.
I'm starting to get nervous if I have to mediate between the two of you. Now, I actually see it as a strategic move, because basically, let's remember that we're talking franchise cricket. It's all about eyeballs. It's all about getting people to watch. Because remember, the CPL has yet to turn a profit. And what better way to add a few 100 million eyeballs from India, of all places, if you've got Pravin Tambe involved. So whether he's 48 years old, or whether he's just still wearing his pampers and has a pacifier to allow him to keep quiet, it doesn't matter. The fact is, you've got an Indian. You've got an Indian playing in the CPL. And if it goes against the grain, Wayne, and I take your point of, seeing the tournament as an ultra competitive, no holds barred, best of the best competition, let's remember that in the inaugural season of the CPL, the likes of Ricky Ponting, Jacques Callis, and a few others who were already on their way out.
But they are superstars, Faz. I don't know, Tambe is a superstar. He made his debut in the IPL, I think at 41, I think it was, right? But he's not a superstar. That's all I'm saying.
He's not a superstar, but he's an Indian.
And I understand the strategic move,
Indian.
if that's what it is.
And that's a strategic move. That's what it is. Bottom line is, this is excellent marketing.
I'm just asking for an explanation, that's all.
Well, he's giving you one.
The CPL can boast that they've broken the stranglehold of the BCCI by having an Indian in their tournament.
And Faz, just to add, it's already the headlines, which means they would have already won, because this is what's trending, CPL to bring the first Indian in. So it's already working.
Yeah. All right,
it is, and that's part of it.
Yeah. All right, Faz, let's advance from that, though, because the rosters are now known. To the naked eye, I would say the Trinbago Knight Riders, the Barbados Tridents, and the Guyana Amazon Warriors have compelling-looking squads. That's not to say that the Zooks and the Tallowers and the Patriots don't have good players in there, but those big three look awesome going in.
They do look very strong with the players that they've acquired, and when you look at the balance of the team. But as we all know, as we all have learned following T20 cricket and learning more and more about T20 cricket. I mean, the Guyana Amazon Warriors are a case in point from that 2019 season, beating everyone all the way right to the final and then being outplayed by the Barbados Tridents. And that's the mercurial nature of the T20 format. You could have the best players around. You could have the very best players. As I pointed out in mentioning Ricky Ponting was immediately shut down by Wayne Lewis. Ricky Ponting was part of the Antigua Hawksbills, who were captained by Marlon Samuels, who finished dead last in the competition. So again, having the best players doesn't guarantee you that you'll figure for the title.
But he wasn't the best player. He wasn't the best player at the time, though, Faz.
Absolutely, but you just said he was a superstar.
Right, but he is.
So he was a name. So the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, you really want to still have an excellent team ethos, and that's where it comes down to. Whoever is the captain, whoever is the coach, whoever are the senior players, can they build that environment where the players are enjoying being in an environment where there won't be any fans? That's another thing. Dwayne Bravo can dance all he wants. There'll be nobody in the stands dancing with him, at least as far as we know. So he's got to find different ways to get himself G'd up and going, and that's where the inner professionalism comes in.
So Faz, when Lance mentioned the strong teams, he failed to mention the Jamaica Tallowers. Of course, leading up into the draft, there were so many, stories coming out, so many criticisms, all these different things. Now, Chris Gayle is out of the CPL for good. We have Carlos Brathwaite joining the Jamaica Tallowers. How strong does this franchise look as we get ready for CPL 2020?
I'll go with their tagline, that they're Tallower. We're small, but we're Tallower. I think the more bacchanal, the more confusion that surrounds the Jamaica Tallowers, the better it works for them, because they can actually build around that. It reminds me of the West Indies team ahead of the 2016 World T20, when they built that cocoon around themselves, saying that everyone is against us. Our fans don't expect anything. Cricket West Indies are against us. everyone is against us. They say we have no brains and all that sort of thing. So they were able to build that environment of us versus them. And I suspect that it doesn't take much for the Jamaica Twalawas to build that sort of cocoon as well.
Yeah.
So you never know. It could actually work in their favor.
Well, Dinesh Ramdin from TKR, he's head across to the Patriots. A loss for TKR?
Maybe not, but again, it really depends on those who fill the breach.
Yeah.
Dinesh Ramdin is an outstanding cricketer. He's gotten himself deep into controversy with his comments a couple of months ago about some of his own teammates and the issues with Mervyn Dillon as coach. So maybe he's happy to be outside and away from that environment, where there'll be some of them maybe still having some uncomfortable moments about what he would have had to say about them during the regional first-class season. But again, Ramdin, now with a different squad, a different setup. He's got the likes of Riyad Emrit, who's also a Trini in the team with him.
Yeah.
Players will take different types of motivation. They will tell themselves, not only do I want to perform for the team, I want to perform for myself. I remember Riyad Emrit in the very first season of the CPL. He was playing for Barbados.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he could not enjoy an environment more than playing with the Barbados Trident, because he was making a statement about how he was treated by Trinidad and Tobago.
All right, Faz, I need to ask you this question. I know that Murray is going to thump me when I ask this question, but I have to ask it, right? Last week, I made a statement that James Harden is the biggest regular season superstar. I could say that the Guyana Jaguars is the greatest regular season team in T20's history. Will they go further this time? Will they go one step further and actually win it this time around?
Should I be frontish enough and say no?
Yeah.
Should I say because they just seem, for whatever reason, to be the South Africans of the CPL. They choke at the wrong time. And sometimes, even when you're trying to convince yourself that is not going to happen, it's in the process of trying to convince yourself that you get yourself tightened up. So let me say, for the sake of argument, so that I can be proven wrong when they win, let me say no.
All right, Faz, that's where we're going to leave it. We thank you very much for talking to us here on the two major issues, in fact, the start of the Biosecure Test Series with England and the West Indies starting midweek at Southampton, and of course the CPL, which is now confirmed. The rosters are now confirmed and the tournament set to start August 18. Great, my Liverpool man. See you soon.
Indeed, I'm glad you pointed that out. Take care, everybody.
Okay, that's Fazeer Mohammed. A lot of discussion this week, Mariah and Wayne, on the CPL. On Wednesday's program, we're expected to talk to Andy Flower, who is the new coach of the St. Lucia Zouks. Of course, he was a part of the England setup up to fairly recently, and a big name coach there coming in to try to help the Zouks.
Can he help the Zouks?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. We want to see one of those teams from the Windward Islands in particular, come through, or the Leeward Islands, and really make their mark on this CPL. They have not come to the party in its own some way, and let's hope that they'll cross that bridge and maybe get into the final. Who knows?
You know what will work in their advantage? Normally, the stronger teams like TKR, Guyana Amazon Warriors, and well, now the Tridents, the fan base pushes, because I know when you play a match in Trinidad, there's you can't support another team because the crowd is just
it's
angry.
overpowering.
Yeah,
it's
and
overpowering,
it takes advantage, right?
Yeah.
So this is a chance, honestly, for the St. Lucia Zouks and the weaker teams to step up because there'll be no crowd.
Yeah, and just ahead of the break, the St. Lucia T10 closing off today, the final. Johnson Charles smashing an unbeaten 100 and getting the South Castries Lions to a fairly comfortable victory in the end. So that's Darren Sammy's team winning the St. Lucia T10 tournament. The final played just a couple of hours ago at the Darren Sammy Stadium. Back with more on the SportsMax Zone after the break.